You ever finish something, a slide deck, an email, a project, and instead of feeling relieved, you feel exposed? Like there's that nagging feeling that maybe you missed something, like it's not ready, like you're not ready. And you're asking yourself, why can't I just finish this? And so instead of trusting that you got it right the first time, you open the file again. You tweak the headline again. You tweak one more thing and you rework the part you already approved, maybe even sleeping on it again. And you're confusing yourself to the point that you're not even sure what would make it feel done. Not because your message is unclear, not because you're disorganized, but because no matter how much you do, some part of you still wonders if it's enough. Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Leslie Godet, self-care strategist, founder of Her Extraordinary Life by Design, and creator of the Yes Reset Method, my three-step system I use to help high-achieving women set up a life they don't need a vacation from so they can grow a business they love with less guilt and more freedom. So let's talk about what's really behind that constant need to revisit, to refine, and rework. Because when done doesn't feel safe, it's not a task issue, it's a trust issue. Now, if you've decided to lean in, this might be something that you resonate with and you want to be able to make some changes, which means you want to stop circling back. You want to stop carrying it in your head hours after it's technically finished. And more than anything, you want to be able to move forward without questioning everything you just did. But here's what I want you to know. You're not struggling with follow through. You're not struggling with motivation. You're caught in something deeper and you're definitely not alone. Now, if you're a high achiever, I know that you're productive, that you're performing, and that you're showing up, checking the boxes, and doing what needs to be done. And from the outside, you look like you're on top of everything. Your clients are happy, your team relies on you, your output says composed, capable, and confident. But what people don't see is what it's costing you emotionally to keep it that way. They don't see the version of you that's rereading the email 5 times before sending it, or the version of you that's staying up late to rework the slide deck again for the presentation that no one asked you to fix. It was fine. They don't see the silent script that says, if I just make this one thing better, maybe I'll finally feel okay. And the kicker is they probably praise you for it, right? They see a work ethic that's outstanding and they call it excellence. They call it being thorough. But what they're really seeing is output-based burnout in disguise because this isn't about not doing enough. This is about doing too much to avoid the fear that your enough might not actually be enough. That's what I want to talk about today. And what I'm going to actually be covering in next week's episode for the woman who's doing more than she needs to, polishing more than she wants to, and still not feeling calm once it's done. We're going to talk about how perfectionism becomes your emotional safety net and what happens when you stop trusting your work unless it's airtight. You see, this kind of burnout doesn't come from exhaustion alone. It comes from overperforming for peace, from over-delivering for permission, from over-preparing just to avoid regret or criticism. And if we're being truthful here, you probably don't even call it burnout when you start to feel emotionally stretched thin, exhausted, tired the next day. Instead, you're just saying, you know what? I have to keep pushing through because it's not quite ready, or I want to tighten it a little bit more, or I just don't feel great about it yet and I'm not sure why. And burning yourself out behind the scenes, chasing perfect. Because underneath all of that is the belief that unless it's perfect, it's not safe to let it go. And that belief isn't just exhausting, it's silently eroding not only your clarity, but also your emotional bandwidth and eating up your valuable time and energy that could be spent on things that actually matter to you. So in next week's video, I'm going to be walking you through how to spot output-based burnout in real time and what it actually looks like when perfection is running the show. I'm going to break down why finishing doesn't feel like relief anymore, what's really driving the need to re-edit, refine, or rework something that's already good, and how to create the kind of internal trust that helps you say, this is enough, and mean it. Because that's what you want, isn't it? To send the thing and stop thinking about it, to close your laptop and not carry it into dinner, into family time, or when it's time to get some sleep, or even your weekend. You want to stop questioning whether you missed something, even when you know you didn't. And you don't want to slow down. You just want to stop second guessing what you've already done and work in a way that feels calm, clear, and aligned, not like you're chasing down peace through one more round of edits. That's exactly what we're going to unpack in the full episode. And here's the most important thing I want you to hear today. This isn't a discipline problem. You don't need a new planner and you don't need to get better at focusing. You need a new way of relating to what you do, the emails that you write, the content that you create, the offers that you deliver, the strategies you build. One that doesn't require perfection just to feel complete. You need to rebuild the internal cues that tell you that this is finished, that I can let it go. Because without that, the loop just continues and you'll keep checking, you'll keep reworking and keep telling yourself that you're almost there, but there never actually arrives. That's where we're headed next week. A place where done doesn't feel like exposure, where your work doesn't have to be perfect to feel complete, and where you start trusting yourself enough to stop tweaking everything just to feel safe. So, if you've been quietly carrying the pressure to prove your worth through how much you do, if perfection has become the reason that you can't finish something you already know is good, then next week's episode is for you. So make sure that if you haven't already, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and also share this with a friend that you know needs to be here next week to get in on this. And again, come back next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern for the conversation you've probably needed for a long time. Maybe something that a friend of yours needs to hear so that you need to invite them because it's something that they've needed to hear for a long time. Because it's not about doing less, okay? It's about doing what matters without having to perfect it just to believe that it's enough. So I'll see you next week.